Perfect. So, hey, welcome to Coffee Connect, everyone. I'm Rodney. I'm your host. Today is going to be a great opportunity for us all to learn, but we're also going to learn about learning in a digital sense. And I think we would all agree, the digital mindset is really coming into play with AI really taking a big form these days. And she's been with us now for a couple months, Sarah. Don't ever ask me to pronounce her last name. It's just Dr. Sarah. I think that's why everybody calls her Dr. Sarah easily because uh, it is so much easier to say Dr. Sarah versus to pronouncing that last name. Can you pronounce it for us?
Sure,
I'm gonna
it's
ask you
simple.
that.
It's Hubrex. Just
Ubrex. See, oh,
Hubrex. Hubrex.
it's not as hard as what it looks in.
Oh,
So good deal. So, like I said, guys, Sarah and I got connected, I think, through Cleveland area networking first, and then she decided to join us. And for some reason, she loves all of you, and that's why she keeps coming back and back. And she's a veteran, so she's got to be awesome, right? And she's a Navy veteran, which makes her even more special to me, right? So she's been doing her thing here for the last few years, guys, and really looking forward to learning what she's got to share with us today. Today's topic, level up your service value and sustainability through digital learning. I think we're all going to gather a lot of information about maybe how we can better either introduce ourselves to people, right? If we're in transition, or maybe introduce our businesses and our products, right, to people in our businesses. So without any further ado, guys, I'm going to give it up for the course doctor, Dr. Sarah.
hi, let me just share my screen here right away. We'll start with that. Can everybody see that? It should be just the PowerPoint off on the side. I'm going to keep it out of the full mode just because I'm going to go back and forth between a website and the presentation. And so rather than have the hiccups, we're going to try to keep this as simple as possible. So yes, Dr. Sarah, the course doctor. As I transitioned into the entrepreneurial space, I definitely had to do a re-exploration of my background and how I could actually serve small businesses and entrepreneurs. And my thing that I love is learning, both as a person, as a professional learner. I'm definitely a lifelong learner, but also professionally in supporting businesses. And how can we actually do that? So yes, I truly appreciate this opportunity. Today's agenda, or the plan of the day, is we already did the attendance or the new introductions, or do we want to actually take a moment for the new people to do that?
Sure, we can do that right now. That'll eliminate me going, oh, what do we got to do?
Yeah, exactly. Let's do that. Let me stop sharing then for a moment.
Perfect. I know him by Nate, but his name's up as Charles Schwab. Just give us a quick 30, 60-second elevator pitch for us, man, as far as who you are, what you do, and how we might be able to help you, Charles.
I'm a Marine Corps combat veteran. I started a company in the Cincinnati area, technically Kentucky, called Functional Models Furniture. I collect luxury art and furniture, and I have a great time doing it.
Awesome. And I don't know if Charles and I are connected or not, but if not, I'll find him on LinkedIn. We can get connected. That way you guys have easy means of getting connected. I was also encourage everyone, throw your your contact information in the chat, right? This will give you guys an easy way to save the chat, obviously get linked up later on. I think for new people, do we have any other new people that I'm missing? I hate to say that, but I think that Charles was our only new person today. But I do want to give Greg an opportunity real quick. Greg Butler, if you just want to kind of give us an update, man. Everybody's in the room, man. I know you got some exciting news and you're excited about what you're doing here.
Yeah, I think it's just keeping up on persistence and just keep following through. I was talking to two companies about 6 months ago, and the one job I really wanted, they weren't kind of ready for the position yet, so I ended up taking the other. And then come down 6 months later, they realized they still need me and they still wanted me, so I decided to jump ship, change direction for what I was doing. So yeah, it's great. I got a lot of opportunities. Just finished the Bold program, and if you guys are down in Cincinnati and don't know what that is, it's board orientation, leadership development, and it's put on by a group that gets you ready for a nonprofit board. It's like a 6-week, once a week thing you can get on. So if you're interested in hearing about that too, or want to learn about that, I can connect you with those people. It's a great program, but yeah, they'll get you on a board and they get everything figured out for you. So, yeah, let me know if you need anything or need any help.
Awesome. Congrats, Greg, again, man. Thanks a lot for joining us. Back to you, Sarah.
Excellent. That gave me a chance to pull up the chat so I can hopefully keep that up. Okay, then we have a couple upcoming events, and then we're going to actually talk about what service is, and then wrap it up with a talk about value and how we bring that into our business. So let's jump right in. So in a couple weeks, I know I'm gonna meet a couple of you at the SAM Center, or actually at the MAPS Air Museum, for the SAM Center's Veteran Resource Fair. I've actually decided to set up a table there and do a little promotion to help people reimagine their businesses there as well, and even just how to build yourself up as a personal brand kind of thing. So definitely, and I know Rodney has a table that he'll be setting up there. Unfortunately, it does compete with the cook-off, which is why we are actually going to dive into the cook-off today. I felt bad that I signed up and am not attending. But before we even dig into that, when I was down here in Stark County, we have the fairs, and you guys all have those fairs as well. I can't see everybody. I don't know, we've got some competing sound. In the chat, if you could let me know if you went to your local fair or potentially a competing local fair kind of thing, or if you just attended throughout the summer some kind of fair or festival or something so if you just want to put some sort of yes, I went, or what was the actual event you attended, if you wouldn't mind just putting that into the chat, because I can't see hands or anything like that. So how many of you went? Is that a nobody? So I was here at the Stark County one. Excellent. Worked at church festivals. Excellent. Stark in the livestock auction. Wonderful. We probably crossed paths while we were there then. I was on the little sheriff's shuttles. Corn festival. Interesting. Huh. And then the Warren County. How many of you saw local businesses there where they had like tables or vendor kind of booths there? Did anybody see those at those events? How many of you then actually stopped at those tables? Anybody? With an actual interest in their services?
Yeah.
Excellent. Did you sign up for those services?
No.
Okay. Anybody else?
Some of it was products.
Okay. Did you buy the products?
I did.
Outstanding. So we have how many people on the call? 21.
I could show and tell too.
That is awesome. Huh. So out of 21 people, one person came home with a product. Was there anybody else? I didn't see anybody else in the chat.
Yeah, I bought some jewelry.
Outstanding. So that's 2 people.
This
Next
might
week,
not be
make sure you
exact.
wear that.
This might not be exactly what you're after, but at Hamilton County Fair, my mom bought a sewing machine back in the 1970s, which my sister still has.
Well, that gets to the exact point of where we're heading, because years ago, I remember going to my local fair back in Sheboygan County, back in Wisconsin, and we would come home with bags full of goodies from all of these different businesses, and they were the local businesses. If you needed a new yardstick, you knew you were going to get that yardstick at the county fair. There were always those staples that everything you got. State Farm always had a booth set up. How many of you had those nice little atlases that you maybe kept in your car, and then you use when I was in the military, I had one in my car and started highlighting that as to everywhere I went. So back in the day, to the point, sewing machines, microwaves, all these different products, we could easily go to these different local events and pick them up. And we went there for the purpose of buying some of these products, or of course, like before the infomercials, we didn't know we needed those products, but they were demoing them and they did such a great job with that. When I was at the fair this year, Stark County, I talked with some of the people set up in the exhibition hall at the fairgrounds. There was a bath remodeler, there was a leaf gutter person, there was, you know, some of the four-wheeling kind of stuff they were selling. There was someone that made really cool steel carved type things, but I didn't see lines. And when I spoke to the bath person in particular, the only person that had signed up for anything there yet was her mother. But she was there the entire week, sitting at that table, hoping for a lead to come in. Unfortunately, we are beyond that time. When we go to an event like that, we're now looking for the fun. We're looking for the food. We're looking for the entertainment, the demolition derby, the whatever, the animals. So as we start thinking about events like the chili cook-off, how many of you are coming to the chili cook-off? That is next Friday. Outstanding. I see a couple hands with those people there. Anybody else coming? It is 11 to 3 p.m. on the 4th. The story behind it, Rodney, can you, or whoever can tell us a little bit about the story behind this?
Yeah, and feel free to jump in if you know. Go ahead, Lamar.
Lamar Ratcliffe. This will be the 18th chili cook-off. The host started this, like I said, 17 years ago. It is a phenomenal networking event. It's a chili cook-off competition. So if you have a chili recipe, I put my information in the chat. Reach out to me via email. But you can come and compete. We typically have about 15 to 18 different kinds of chili. Mm-hmm. There's typically over 100 people that will show up, and it is a great, it's the old-fashioned way of networking.
Excellent. Tell me more about go ahead.
Proceeds go to Habitat for Humanity. So that's what it's really just a fundraiser put on by Tornado Technologies, which is why it's referred to as the Tornado Chili Cook-Off, right?
Where is this?
Well, I'll pull the website up here in a bit, and I can even put the link in. Let me just put the link in right now, since I have that right here.
That'd be great.
There you go. It is now in the chat. Okay, the networking. Tell me a little bit more about that. Because let's actually go to that website. When we go onto the website, so whoever is going to be able to explain the networking a little more, start pondering how you're going to respond to that. So we've got the countdown here. We've definitely got the excitement building, 10 days, 39 minutes, 11 seconds. We can then RSVP because they want to have a sense of how much of the goodies they need to have there. So definitely fill that form out. Where is it located? So here we've got the Village of Walton Hills Event Center. It's got a nice little how-to here, how to get there. And I love the speed trap kind of note here. I know the sheriff's office would absolutely love that little note. Then going on down, we've got last year's winner posted. And if you go, you can to this button right here, you can actually get that recipe. Then we've got all the general information located right here, talking about what is involved. And we'll get into that in a little bit. There's some raffles. So if you weren't aware, we can win a few raffle prizes. Here's some of the prizes that they have. There's still some sponsors that haven't been listed yet. And then they've got some extra details. So in here, I asked about, because yes, they talk too here about, this is a great networking event. Tell me more about the networking. Who can?
I will do that.
Fabulous.
I'm Lamar's yin and yang. Even from an introvert's perspective, the neat thing about it is you will see folks, if you're in the Cleveland area, that you may not see from the east side if you're a west sider or vice versa. You'll run into generational folks. I've gotten to know Mark's parents very well. I knew his son through other events, so it's generational as well. Jeff Hexter's dad shows up. Last year we had a handful of people from Coffee Connect and other groups that got to be introduced. From an introvert's perspective, if you've got a lifeline to somebody that you can say, hey, Sarah, can you bring me over here? Or you just, in my case, I stand by the ice cream truck. It's a great spot to be able to do things. So there's a lot of ways to play off of that. You can, the cool thing about it is Mark has developed it from the basic thing to you actually have an app that you get to do things. So if you're a little bit older, like some of us, you can go, how the heck do I use this? So there's plenty of ways to nudge your way into a comfort zone, is my point. So there's just stand-up tables, you wander around, you go, oh, you know, there's Tony. And you can just wander over to that, and there's usually 3 or 4 people eating chili, making a mess, and it's just a very simple way to get to know people.
You mentioned an app. Where is this app?
You will get it when you come in. There'll be a barcode that you just automatically will pop up, and that's how you judge your chilies.
Got it. Excellent to know. Okay, fabulous. That was a wonderful description of it. Let's go on and actually talk about, we already now know about the networking part of it and the benefits of this. As an outsider, being both an outsider to Ohio as well as to the Cleveland area, I love the idea of the networking app or the connection app that can you connect with other people in it, or is it truly just for the judging? I wasn't prepared for an app. I didn't know there was an app. Just the judging? Okay, got it. Excellent. That ties in. We'll definitely talk about that here. So when we're thinking about the services, in this case, I personally, because again, I'm not familiar with this cook-off. So this whole thing has been new as I've gotten to know all of you, and I keep hearing about it. It sounds really cool. But what is the service of it? And who actually was putting it on? It wasn't until Rodney mentioned this morning that Mark was the person that did this that I knew about the connection to the business. I just thought it was a cook-off that somebody was planning on this. So when we're thinking about the service and we define what is the service of our event, what is the service of our business, what is the service of our product, whatever the case may be, it includes both the outcomes and the experiences that that particular service delivers to a customer. So in this case, I had the understanding it was truly about the chili and that there was a great chance to meet some of you and potentially win some raffle prizes. That was my understanding of it up until today. So I'm learning a whole lot more about this. But when we think about the traditional aspect of services, we used to think about it as goods and services. As we start adding in the digital world, that has completely changed because now we have the opportunity to start meeting our customers where they're at. We don't have to be face to face with our customers. So for this networking to start, how cool would it be if there was an actual gathering place where we could start meeting and learning about each other's businesses or the reason why we're heading to this chili cook-off, so we can start scheduling those catch-ups and find out who else is going to actually be at the chili cook-off that we might actually want to have a conversation with. Now, I don't know if Jeff joined or not, but he's coming. Is he still coming from Wisconsin? Anybody know? Anybody heard an update?
He's in Colorado this week, actually visiting family.
Gotcha. Excellent. Well, if he comes, how cool would that be to make arrangements prior to potentially meet up with him for a pre-breakfast or a brunch or something like that? So having that space where we can connect with each other and start scheduling that networking and planning for the time. It doesn't take a lot for the organizers. It's just a matter of making a list available somewhere in a collective space where it is private, because people obviously don't want their personal information just blasted everywhere. It's kind of like that BCC option in your emails. Please use that. I just had someone do that. 200 people were sent my email address. Side note there. But when we think about how we define our services, it traditionally was a matter of, I do X, Y, and Z. We created that list. That's all that we do. If I'm in the HVAC system, I do heating and cooling. I do installations and repairs. I do maintenance. That's probably the extent of what we're doing. But odds are now there's more. There's that reminder of the filters. There's the reminder of the shifting of the seasonal settings, your time change, your whatever, you know, there's all of those reminder opportunities where we can start reaching out to our clients beyond that list of what we traditionally do with our clients. So starting to think a little bit differently about it. We also often, when we thought about our services, associated the cost. So this is where you can talk to Rodney on the financial side of stuff, how you want to meet your plans with it. And then we add, of course, to the cost part of it, the value. Here again, this networking aspect of the chili cook-off, I've heard you all talk about it before, didn't really understand the extent of it and the longevity of it. That is a huge value add for the cook-off, especially if we start extending that and start thinking about ways that we can really add to it before the cook-off and then after the cook-off as well. Because how are we going to stay connected? How do we find those connections? This is where we often think about designing our services as two spaces. One, what our business is going to need to do. And then two, what our customers need us or how we're going to serve our customers. It often focused on those internal processes. It's the byproduct of a brick and mortar business where you set up a shop and you did whatever service you provided. People came to you, they maybe checked your website, they looked in a phone book, they found you. But again, we need to start thinking just a little bit differently about that. Couple more, and then I'm going to have us go to a breakout room and start brainstorming a couple ideas for this. But I want to plant a couple more seeds before we get to that. So when we're thinking about designing services in the digital age, the experience of our users, and our users are our customers, but it's also our teams, our employees, and even ourselves as the business owners or business leaders or whoever. It's all about supporting those people as the customer of whatever part of our business. Again, if it's our team, how are we supporting them in the communication? How are we supporting them with the training resources? Are we overwhelming them like what I understand Rodney has in his space, or like on the SCORE website, which is an amazing opportunity out there. But if you've ever gone and started looking at all the different workshops and started looking outside of the region, it can be extremely overwhelming as you start looking at the coastal opportunities and they all overlap and you really can go down to a deep rabbit hole. So how are you making it easy for your customers to engage with you? Traditionally, we looked at this again in those two spaces. One was that direct employee experience, and then indirectly, our customer experience came in. When we head into the digital space, we're flipping that. The customer and the community comes first. And then the indirect aspect of it becomes our employees. It goes along with that idea that the customer is always the priority. I wouldn't necessarily say they're always right, even though I know we'd like to think they're always right, but their experience is the priority. So they are directly the priority of who we want to improve the experience for. So let's think about the tornado chili cook-off. What are some ideas we could offer to Mark and his team to improve the customer experience? And now us as the attendees, us as the ones coming there with the hope of networking and meeting as a byproduct of this Coffee Connect. What are some of the strategies? I already gave one about, the connections beforehand, but what are some additional ones that we could come up with? Let's actually head into a breakout room and give people a time to, once, if they're with people they don't know, of course, introduce themselves. And two, then see if you can come up with, as a team, 3 ideas. I love the number 3. So come up with 3 ideas. That way, then in case somebody else from another group steals yours, when we come back and share, you have 2 backups. So as a team, see what you can come up with. How could we improve the customer experience for the chili cook-off? And the link, I'll put that in the chat again. So in case you came in after, here is that. So you can go check it out if you missed that. Any questions on what you're going to do in the breakout room? Did you want to set those up, Rodney, or do you already?
I've already got them set up. It's 10:33, guys. We're going to go for about 7 minutes, 8 minutes, and then we'll be back in here. I'll see you soon.
So I know in the group I was in, we had some interesting conversations. So I'm going to let one of them share, but also why don't we have somebody from each of the groups share? Who, if you want to volunteer to be the speaker, go ahead and put your hand up.
Start raising your virtual hands right now so we know who to call on to get speaking, okay?
And just pick one of the things that you came up with, one of the ideas or strategies. Go for it, Lamar.
Stanford is going to bust a move during.
Well, Joe asked a question about sponsorships, and what Mark does is Mark does have a drawing, again, money that they're collecting for the Habitat for Humanity, but he does have some prizes that are available, and those are prizes that are donated by local corporations. And that's, so there is local corporations do have a chance to promote their business and increase awareness with the attendees.
Fabulous. All right, Tim, you want to go next?
Sure. So our discussion was along the lines of, looking at the website and in terms of what value you're getting out of the event. And one thing that jumped up was if this is a fundraiser for Habitat for Humanity, that's not prominent information to pull out of there, right? So if I'm looking for a fantastic chili cook-off, all right, I'm definitely interested. If I'm looking for, something, for the philanthropy side, it's not that obvious, right? As far as that goes. And then, making a lot of assumptions. The other thing we talked about was that if, like we as a group were talking about this as a networking event, I don't know if that's on the agenda for tornado, technology. I don't know if that's what they care about. We are doing that, but assuming that they recognize what this does and everything, there's things, probably a lot of things you could do to make this friendlier for networking. Like one of the suggestions you had was make it easy to find out who else is going, so you can cross plan, those type of things. So that was a couple things.
Excellent. Wonderful. Rodney, go for it.
Yeah, I'll start with where Tim kind of left off. One of the things that was brought up in our group is like when you get there, I know I'm getting a name tag because I RSVP'd, right? But maybe part of that name tag is having like a QR code that can be scanned so that when you're meeting people, right, you can easily connect your contact information and really get connected at that point as an opportunity to further that networking, because we know the world's not going to get saved just at the chili cook-off, right? The second thing is going back to his first part, which was the Habitat for Humanity stuff, right? The lack of notification or notoriety, I should say, of Habitat for Humanity. I think a video or something telling the story of a family that is benefiting from Habitat for Humanity, and maybe maybe even kind of the goal, like what's the, Lamar set out at the beginning of the year when we said, hey, we want 100 new people in Coffee Connect. We should have something to gauge that by, Roddy, and see that and have a visual. And we brought the thermometer into effect, right, where we have now had 50 new people of our 100 attend, right? But hey, this is what last year was raised. Our goal this year is this much, right? So that people can be focused on really the real target here, which is how much can we raise for Habitat for Humanity?
Great. Excellent. Lamar, did you want to jump in again?
I'm going to be reaching out to Mark Rashan and sending him or asking for Rodney's help in sending this recording to him. So this is incredibly valuable information.
Well, to that point, I already connected or reached out via LinkedIn to make that connection and gave him a heads up that I volunteered his site and his event for this. And we'll get to that just here in a bit. So I will take care of that for you. You don't even have
That
to do
would, that would be, and Mark's got his own business, but bottom line is he will welcome all these comments. Okay. He is a learner like you are.
Well, excellent, because I've got a few more down here after we get through this part of it. So Mary, go for it. Did you want to share? And then Marty will end with you.
Oh, man.
I know, sorry. Go for it, Mary. Oh, you're on mute.
You're muted. You're muted.
You're still muted. There we go.
Sorry. So we talked about offering more information on the app, like about the person who brought the chili, whether it was the grandmother's recipe, whether it's a Greek chili or an Italian chili or a Mexican chili. Also, a degree of hotness should also be listed there. And then we also talked about offering little cups of milk or almond milk or something to cool your tummy down after and in between all these hot chilies.
Excellent ideas. And even just knowing that that stuff will be available is a huge thing. I think of winery tours. You always know you're supposed to spit that out in theory. I don't know. I always drink it all, but go for it, Marty.
All right. Just a quick thought that I had as the discussion was going. Is there any, because of longevity, is there any way to kind of like put up a tally of how much was raised for Habitat for Humanity, or how many houses were built with that? I mean, that might get more people interested also in getting a bigger number or more houses built.
Excellent point. We often forget that, and I'm guilty of that myself as a former educator. I guess technically I'm still an educator, but a littles educator, we'll call it that. We always promoted something. When my unit deployed to Iraq, we did packages that I then shipped to my unit because I had gotten out right about that same time. And I want to say we had 6 or 7 huge boxes that we sent over to my unit. And having that as part of the newsletter then and the promotion after, a couple years back, one of the students that sent a card to my unit joined one of the police forces that of a recipient of his card while he was deployed over in Iraq. So it was really that connection was there. It's unfortunate that social media wasn't around like it is now, because that connection would have been really simple. But there are so many easy connections, even just that idea of starting to tag and hashtag or at people in affiliation with these. Myself, when I realized it was going towards Habitat for Humanity, I instantly went back to my volunteering with Team Rubicon. There's a Boy Scout camp in Findlay. I deployed there for my Sawyer training, and then we came back another weekend to do a cut weekend where we literally volunteered and cleaned up a whole lot of downed trees at the Boy Scout camp. There's another project that they do for Habitat Humanity where they rebuilt or built an entire house in that area. Through that, 2 connections I could easily make tagging. Now after this, I could tag it in the recording of this. Now I've got Lynn, who led that, and her connections to Habitat for Humanity that I can tag here on LinkedIn and make the connections and bring visibility. Because to Tony's point on the work he does on LinkedIn, we actually are becoming researchers that on LinkedIn, we are creating our reference list. How many of you did me just mentioning that reference list right now give you a cringe and nightmares of those thesis papers and your essays from school where you had to cite all your sources? And you remember going to those library catalog drawers and finding those magazine articles and then writing those all up? Well, in the digital age, that's what tagging people does. The other week, I hash marked Steve Jobs, but I tagged Steve Wozniak. I tagged Bill Gates, but I hash marked, nope, it was Wozniak and Bill Gates. Nope, the other, who's Alan, that's it, Alan. because he passed away a couple years ago. So it was interesting how in each of those cases, one I had to hashtag, one I could actually connect on LinkedIn, which was really
Sarah,
cool. Yeah,
Sarah,
Bob, go for it.
I'm old. Would you please explain hashtag and
I
what was
sure
yours?
can. Thank you for asking that. So when you are on any type of social media account, if you type the @ sign, if they have an account on that system, it's going to connect you to them. So like when I've been promoting this, I've been tagging Rodney. So all I do is I type an @ sign and it automatically connects to his profile because we're connected.
Mhm.
Now for like Walt Disney, because obviously Walt Disney doesn't have a profile on LinkedIn, when I talk about the creativity that he inspires, I have to hashtag that.
And what
And
do you do? Go
I
ahead.
truly just type what used to be called the pound sign. I type that and then I type the name, and then that becomes a keyword within my post. Thank you so much for asking that.
Okay, now it's my understanding on LinkedIn, if I tag somebody,
Yeah.
I think if I was to tag you,
Yep.
and I think your connections would see that.
Correct.
That Sarah was tagged in
it.
Bob Petty's post, even though they don't know who I am.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So it's that indirect networking, which is actually the root of what LinkedIn started and the root of why we started connecting job seekers on it way back in its early days. We can definitely talk more on that because I love that conversation. Let me go back to my slides before we get too far off topic because I know we are at the end here. But we've talked a lot about these ideas and the opportunities for what we could be doing or what the chili cook-off could be doing. I know in my group, I learned a lot more about the history of this. I did not know that this started as an opportunity for them to thank their clients. That could definitely be prominently shared as an opportunity to potentially collaborate with other businesses and, team up on it because it's a lot of work to host an event like this. So why not partner with some other local businesses like Jeff's business with his IT stuff? That would be a nice combination there. I'm assuming. I don't think they're competing, are they? But it would definitely bring additional value to that. So that brings me right to value is everything. Value is in all of these services that we provide. Value is what we are doing, especially within the service industry. And when you add these digital products, when you add your digital services, it's not about creating a course. I know that I'm the course doctor, but I truly have taken the movement of let's uncourse the concept of digital products. Let's focus more on the services we provide and how we can bring more of that to our people and support them more. So if we don't create that value, we're honestly creating nothing. We're using that AI tool to just dump thoughts out there. We're filling the feeds as people love to do. You've maybe seen some of that. They're making stuff up. They're creating stories. And I fell victim to it as I was dabbling with this stuff. But if we focus on the value we bring forward, we want to be thinking about who actually determines that value. That goes back to that service conversation at the beginning. Our value is we're delivering it to our customers. How are we supporting them? I'm a huge I'm computer science, IT background. So when we're thinking about it from the customer's perspective, you've got to start with the customer experience and work backwards to the technology, not the other way around. This is why with the Apple and the Windows and the whole Microsoft competition out there, there's a lot of the Microsoft people, when you talk to them and ask them questions, and I was guilty of this years ago, it's about the how-to. It's about getting from A to B. But when you talk to an Apple person, it's about the experience. It's about the value you bring to it, not necessarily the how-to. And there's huge debates that we're definitely not going to head down that path. So we definitely don't have time to go deeper into that. I do just want to share super fast, and I know I'm not going to get to the stories on my website, but if you go out to the coursedoctor.com and then my about page, it does have a little bit more of my background. But for me, I headed down this path it really was before 2003, but for summer of 2003, I walked into my principal's office and told him, I don't want to teach that canned space kit again this summer. Can I just create something myself? So the non-entrepreneur in me didn't think to ask for extra money, didn't think about the perspective of, hey, I could sell this curriculum. I did it because I wanted to have fun with my students and I wanted them to fall in love with technology. I'm the summer school page. I put it up on GitHub. So if you're curious about that at all, where did my chat go? I will just put a little plug in for that. So go check that out. We had a ton of fun with it, but it is why and how I landed where I'm at. I started thinking creatively about how technology could enhance what I was doing, how I could improve my students' experience, which thereby now relates to how can I improve my customers' experience and how can we bring more value to them. I definitely am going to jump on down here. So as the course doctor, I help people transform their expertise into those digital connections and that growth. I really am helping people create digital products and digital services to enhance the services they ultimately deliver. I would love to connect with people. This LinkedIn is there. There is a schedule a time with me. There's always a project feasibility or a one-on-one networking. I just want to learn more about what you're all doing. And I would love to just have a conversation like we did with the chili cook-off and see what ideas we can come up with in 30 minutes, because odds are it's going to be at least 3 to 5 actionable things you could take away from that for your business. Would love to do it. Any questions? I know we're right up to the end. I am so sorry. The
You're good.
conversations were just so good.
No questions, comments, concerns? Hey, give it up for Sarah, guys. Great conversations today, and as Lamar said, hopefully we'll get some of this information back to Mark Rashawn and his team, and see where we can help them, if not for this year, right? Help them develop something a little more robust for the 19th year. I know Carly does a great job of getting that out, but I think having an army of people to help do that, right, can do so much more for that organization. I want to give a minute if he can. Scott Halls, are you there? Yeah.
I'm still here.
Again, going back to one of the first things we talked about, which was the Veterans Resource Fair, and Scott works with Sam Center up in Cleveland. If you can just give us kind of a brief understanding of what that's going to do next week for everyone up that way.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity, Rodney. So short as I'm actually board president for the Serving Area Military Veterans Widows Sam Center based out of Massillon, Ohio. We have two facilities, one in Massillon, one in Canal Fulton, where we do therapy programs. But one of our big events that we do during the year is an annual stand down / resource fair. It will be Friday, October 4th and Saturday, October 5th at the Maps Air Museum on the back half of the Akron-Canton Airport. It's technically in the city of Greene. What we do is we bring essentially all military service providers and military-friendly businesses under one roof. Our whole purpose of the event is to get veterans service benefit connected. So we'll have VA folks on the hand, and thanks for plugging that in the chat, Dr. Sarah. Yeah. But each year it's to make sure veterans get aligned with their service benefits, and instead of going, hey, you got to go to Cleveland for this, Akron for this, can't for that. The worst case is you're going to have to walk around the Maps air hangar from table to table, but we get you out of there service benefit connected. We do it so not only you're getting the benefits as a veteran that you're entitled to and deserve, but as well it helps us make justifications on a bigger picture for placement of additional facilities and services and so forth. So if anybody's got questions, would certainly welcome it, attendance to come in and partake in the event is free for our veterans. Hey, bring your DD 214. I believe the recorder's office is going to be providing free veteran IDs, or maybe for $1 at most. And then there's just a wealth again of information and services.
Are you still looking for vendors too, Scott?
Actually, given where we're at, we could probably sneak, one or two in, but we're pretty much about finalized given our footprint, layout, and so forth. So if somebody's so convicted that they just absolutely want to be there, one, we'd love to have you there. Two, we'd have to squeeze it in. But if you go through the Sam Center website that was shared in the link, there's actually should be a link that allows you to register for the resource fair.
Lamar, I'll throw it out to you. I know you're tough getting around right now, but I know you're hoping to see you at the chili cook-off. If you want to just come sit at my booth, Lamar, and tell the veterans that you help veterans with their resumes and stuff, man, I'm more than happy to have you sit with me, brother. And you might not make it Friday because it's Friday and Saturday, but I'll be there Saturday too.
It's all going to depend, Rodney. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I can even make chili cook-off.
Understand, buddy. Understand. And for anybody down here in Cincinnati, obviously there are a few of us that are going up to Cleveland for the chili cook-off and the Veterans Resource Fair. If you're wanting to get in on that carpool and that information or whatever, let me know, man. I'd love to have a few people ride with me to go up, man. It'll be a good time. So we'll end with this, guys. Next week, we're going into October next week. HR Roundtable will be on Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 9:30. We'll jump on here at 10 o'clock because we're entering the last quarter, right, of the year. Really want to address kind of where you at for the year for your goals. What are you trying to achieve? Where are you missing out on? What can we do to help facilitate those discussions for the rest of the year as well? What are you doing to prepare yourselves for 2025, guys? Crazy to start thinking that we're right around the corner from 2025. So hopefully you learned some things today from Dr. Sarah Wright. And if you're not wanting to use it in your own life, I would guarantee you that there are people that you run into every day that would value helping them assess their skills, their talents, their offerings, right? What the value is to either their future employer or their clients and stuff. And you can either start with helping them or you can help with connecting them to Dr. Sarah so we can help her as well. So go out there, have a great week, everybody. And remember, I love you.
See you.
Thanks, everyone. Until next time.
Sarah, awesome.
Thanks, Dr. Sarah. Great job.
Awesome.
That's why I'm wearing that.